Welcome back, everybody, to the Nosebleed Sports Podcast. I'm Chris Witt, and with me, as always, is Mr. Adam Schmidt. How are you today, sir?
Pretty good. How about yourself?
I'm doing well. I'm doing very well. Very interested. Very looking forward to this podcast.
Me too.
We've got some good sports stuff going on. Obviously, the playoffs, the NBA playoffs are in full swing. In the we're in couple game fives today. We've got pivotal game fives. We've also got some Bob Huggins racial. What is that? What is it? Slurs.
Yeah.
Slurs.
Yeah.
We've got and we're going to talk a little bit about Adam. Adam tells me before the podcast that he thinks we are going to have a difference in opinion on what went down with the Suns owner and Nikola Jokic.
That's right.
In game 4, I believe it was, in Phoenix.
Yeah.
Game 5 was last night.
Yep.
All right, so let's but to get started, let's do what we always do. Let's kick this thing off with a little bit of Reese's magic. Adam, what kind of Reese's, what for the Reese's segment, what are we rating this week?
We got a little theme going here lately, Chris. We have, let's see, last week we had the plant-based. Reese's.
Boy, we did have plant-based Reese's, yes.
No, we have this week.
Oh, tell me it's vegan like scrumdiddlyumptiousness.
Close.
Okay.
Zero sugar.
Oh, zero sugar. Adam is on a roll with the Reese's.
Zero sugar miniature cups.
I'm happy we're going through all these nasty things now, so we can get into hot and heavy into some good Reese's here. You don't need to give me 2. I'll probably only need one of these bad boys. Zero sugar Reese's mini cups. Here we go. We're about to find out what this is all about here. I mean, the look is very similar to the regular mini cup.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I like the bright orange wrap.
Mm-hmm. Oh, here we go.
Just like there
we go with that.
cup.
Not Reese's peanut butter. That's the part that irritates me the most. It's Reese's. It's supposed to be Reese's peanut butter. That is not Reese's peanut butter. It tastes like some other kind of peanut butter.
What about the chocolate?
Chocolate's fine. It's not terrible.
You think it's
None of it tastes like a good. I mean, it's good. It's good. It's not terrible.
starting to come to me now? A little bit of flavor. Mostly, this is tasteless to me.
Yeah. All right, so Adam, let's go ahead. First bite, first impressions, bud. What do you want to rate this? I'm rating this right now.
Mostly this is tasteless to
It's
me.
tasteless. Adam doesn't taste anything on the zero sugar. I mean, Reese's is basically just sugar. Reese's is basically just sugar, right? So it makes sense that you don't taste anything.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
All right, number 2's down the hatch. I'm gonna go zero sugars mini cup.
I thought you were gonna say 0. What are you rating?
No, I'll go with a 6.
Okay.
Sorry, 6.4.
Oh, 6.4. You do get a little, like on that first one, I did get a little, as I chewed it, got a little hint of peanut butter.
Not Reese's peanut butter.
It's different.
Mm-hmm.
But not bad, like we usually say. Yeah, wash that down.
Yeah. Gotta wash it down with a real Reese's.
More real one.
Yeah.
It's not, yeah, like we always say, usually it's not bad, but it's not the traditional.
It's so different.
You said 6.4, huh?
Mm-hmm.
I said 6.9. I just got to keep it
Tekashi
6.9. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love his song
Gummy or Gumbo, and then he's got like Humini and Fufufi and all his songs. That's what they're called. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Never even heard of a song of his. Yeah.
No?
Never even. I mean, I've heard of him. I've seen. Isn't he the covered in face tattoos and real
Rainbow
different
hair, rainbow hair. Yeah, he acted like he was a blood, and then he got a bunch of, like, he was basically the 9 Trey Bloods in Brooklyn. He was basically they took him in and let him say he was a blood because he had all this money from rapping. So he acted like he was a blood, and then he snitched on every one of them when the FBI came after him. Snitched
Is
on
that
everyone.
right?
Yeah, somehow old boy's still alive.
Yeah.
He finally got beat up the other day. They had a video of him getting beat up in an LA fitness bathroom. But like nobody can believe that the dude's still alive.
Honestly, that's what you get for trying to be associated with the gang, man. And then you were put in a position to either lose your freedom or put yourself in danger.
And he could, and yeah, dude had to hire 24/7 security. For like a year, he had 24/7 security, and somehow they spotted him without his security in the LA fitness.
Security doesn't go to the gym, huh?
I guess not.
Is he somebody? I thought it was him who got murdered that was similar to him.
Oh man, like half the people he used to beef with, every dude he beefed with ended up getting murdered.
Okay, that's not suspicious.
That's no joke. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
his own boys, they put masks on and everything and jumped him and put him in. He's got $1 million chains and all these giant chains that spin and all that fancy stuff. And they stole his chains from him, and he busted out of the back. Turns out it was his own boys that did it. Robbed him.
There was an episode of Dave. You ever watch Dave?
I watched the first season of Dave, but I know they're on like season 4. I've never got past. I haven't got past season 1 yet. It's a great show. I love it.
Yeah, really, really good. Just this new season it's like 5 weeks in or something like that. One of the first episodes, something similar happened.
Love that.
Anyway, good for shout out Tekashi 6ix9ine, or not shout out. He doesn't really sound
Gummo,
but
I think Gummo was his big one.
Gummo.
I think Gummo was his big one. I'm gonna read you the names.
Was his name, huh?
Yeah, I'm gonna read you the names of Tekashi 6ix9ine songs, and I want to know, dude. I was enthralled with this guy for a while. Like, I was looking at all this YouTube stuff and on the Insta Snap and all that malarkey, and following, because the dude didn't make any sense. Like, he was calling out real gangsters, like real gangsters on everything, calling them out and doing things that no one should do, saying things no one should say if they want to be alive. And somehow he always came out on top. And some, he what's one of the dude's names? I can't remember. Anyway, he ended up dying, and then he's like, they show him, and he's like at the spot where he got killed, and in that dude's hood, and they're like, how can he possibly be there and make a video of him? I don't know. Anyway,
do you ever
wormholes, man? You get down a wormhole with that guy.
Yeah, you ever look at that kind of stuff and think and get any kind of little depression or anything, that people like that, there are people like that that live that lifestyle and choose it and are millionaires?
Yeah, but they have to fear for their life, and they hardly make it past a decent age.
Yeah.
So he's got Wape, which looks like his most recent. He's got Bori, Bori. Here's Grupo Fermi. Oh no, and Grupo Fermi. The song is called Why Ahora. This one's just called Billy. That's a real song. That's a name. That's actually not bad. But this is Gummo. That's Gummo, him hanging out with his hood boy with all them bloods. Yeah, this Tekashi right there. We got Kuda. It's greatest names for songs in the entire world.
Is this a language, or is this just
no? It's just what it is, man.
Makes up, huh?
Yeah, it's just what it is. Oh, it looks like he's getting jumped in a barber shop too. Oh, this is a joke.
Yeah,
this is a joke. Yeah, it's a joke. He likes to mess around. He'll make fun of himself too, which good for him.
And he has friends who are horrible actors.
Yeah, absolutely. Gotti, Gotti, Gooba, Gooba. It doesn't make any sense. Any of
Isn't
the
that like a Mario character or something like that?
maybe I don't know. I'm not sure. That's a good
Huh.
question. Anyway, shout out. I mean, look at him. We're talking about him right now on the podcast.
I guess
so
so.
old boys
We better
don't
watch what we say. We're gonna be next.
That's right. You know, he got arrested. The reason that they were able to get to him was because he violated his probation, because in one of his early videos, he had an underage girl performing sexual details on him. So he was got busted for, he was like 18 and she was 16 or 17.
Oh.
I mean, it wasn't like he was 30 and she was 14. I mean, they were a year or two apart, but still he got busted for that. And then he was on probation. So they went and raided his whole house, took everything, dude.
What a fella.
Oh man, Tekashi, what a story, man. There's a story all about him they've already done a documentary on him.
Yeah. You know what?
I think it's on Hulu, maybe.
Yeah,
or
I've seen
on
like
one of them. Yeah. The old Tekashi 6ix9ine. I was in I went down a wormhole with that dude for about it was like 3 months. I was just following this guy like crazy. What is like this dude is nuts. He's nuts. He had a death wish.
I will get sort of interested in something like that, but it doesn't take long, and I'm like, this is so despicable. This puts me in a bad mood.
Yeah.
And so I can't
Can't
last very long with that stuff.
All right. So anyway, enough with Tekashi. Let's get into some Bobby Huggins. Bob Huggins on 700 WLW drops a couple F-bombs and not FUs, couple English cigarettes, if you will.
That's right.
Out there on the old airways, and is giggling about it as he said. You could tell that he's with Bill Cunningham in the interview. Maybe he had a sixer, maybe a 12-pack down already, around 11 o'clock
I was
noon.
gonna say,
Yeah, it was around 11 o'clock noon, 1 o'clock, midday with Willie Cunningham, and even Willie was laughing. Even that's and it was almost like he didn't realize he was on the air or something.
Yeah.
Either way, it doesn't matter. You say what you said. I don't remember. I went to a lot of. I remember every crosstown shootout, but apparently when I was a young child, there were some penises thrown onto the floor in the middle of a game. I don't remember.
How do I not remember that?
It had to be when we were kids, and it would have been at UC. It probably had, like, we would have never been there for it, and if you weren't there, you probably would never know about it.
You could have been there for it.
I've only been to one crosstown shootout at UC, and it was when they were #1 in the country, and Lenny Brown hit a free throw line jumper to beat
We
him.
were at that one.
I was at that one. I still have the ticket. I think it's no, the ticket might be in my room. It may not be on the memorabilia shelf back there. Anyway, so 2 days it takes. I'm out. This is the best part about this. I'm in West Virginia when this. I'm traveling to West Virginia when this happens.
Yes, sir.
So I'm in West Virginia, and the whole next day I'm traveling through West Virginia into Kentucky, through 60, coming across 64 West. Sorry, into Kentucky, and I'm stopping at all these places, and I just so happened to pack a Xavier polo for that day. Everywhere I'm walking in, everybody's laughing. Had some of the best funny conversations of my entire life.
Awesome.
I told everybody I was a Xavier fan, and I'm a Catholic school guy, so I feel like Bob Huggins was talking directly to me. I feel like he was speaking directly at me when he said the words Catholic cigarettes.
And I also heard that they, I guess, restructured his contract. Instead of whatever length the contract was, it's year to year now.
Oh,
so he's basically on a 1-year contract.
Oh boy, see, this is my thing. Like, he got him to the tournament last year, and they were not a good team, right? I mean, they were ranked at the beginning of the year, but it wasn't like they were a great team. He was actually he played at Xavier. He got beat by Xavier, which was a huge game for Xavier at the time, early on in the season when they were like ranked number 10 in the country. And then they eventually fell off, but they made it to the tournament. He is really good at getting a lot out of his players.
Yep.
He gets more out of his players than a lot of people do. He's really good at that. But he's got the old Bobby Knight kind of mentality, right? He's a tough, hard-nosed guy. It's his way or the highway. And he's not afraid to get in any of his players' faces.
Mm-hmm.
To this day, I remember my dad calling me, telling me Bob Huggins just died on the floor. And I turn on ESPN, and I flip on ESPN, and he's starting to kind of get up. His defibrillator went off in the middle of the game. He had a, his one they put on his heart. So he had a heart attack in the middle of the game. So kept coaching. They brought a stool down there, and he kept coaching. But as he's standing up, everybody's standing around, and he's pale as a ghost. And he looks up at one of the kids and goes, "That happened because of you."
Oh,
I will
geez.
never in my life. They show it real slow mo. He just looks right at this kid and goes, "That happened because of you." Points his finger, and I'm like, "Holy cow, that's rough right there, bud." But that's when the stool came out. That was the day the stool came out, and he's used it ever since.
Does he really?
Oh yeah, he was sitting on a stool at the Xavier game. Yeah, he's got a stool out there all the time.
Interesting. Okay, so you mentioned, so that's his contract, and apparently they're going to use the $1 million they're taking away and donate it to some groups that are for the advancement
LGBTQ
of
plus
rights for those people.
Right.
He also is apparently going to, I didn't see a figure yet, but is going to make a substantial donation to Xavier University.
Oh, is that right?
Yes.
Oh, that's good. I'm happy for that.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Wouldn't that be great if they just used it all for the basketball?
100%. This is my favorite part. The school said it will partner with the university's LGBTQ plus center to develop annual training sessions that will address all aspects of inequality, including homophobia, transphobia, sexism. Blah, blah, blah. The training and programming will be required of Coach Huggins and all current and future athletics coaching staff. How much fun would it be to sit in a room and just watch Bob Huggins have to go through that kind of training, just to see his eyes? Like, you can't roll your eyes. We're watching you. Don't you roll your eyes.
Oh.
Not even one time. Don't show me that you're all irritated. No. I'm watching you, boy. Don't do it. Take this seriously.
I wouldn't be concerned about his eyes rolling. I'd be concerned about his eyes closing.
Oh, I can just hear inside his head. I wish all these cigarettes would just shut the F up.
Yeah. You're probably right. He also got a 3-game suspension.
Oh, man, they really put it to him, didn't they?
So that's going to be against Dunbar State. It's going to be against
Oakland,
Southeast Wyoming. Yeah, Oakland. So, he'll miss 3 games that they'll win by 40.
Oh, man. He's good. Tom Brenneman loses his job, pulled off the telecast in the middle of it.
Yep. Right after Castellanos.
Right after Castellanos' home run. I thought it was Dietrich. You're right. It was Castellanos. While he's apologizing, one of the greatest home run calls. If you've never heard it, go on YouTube. Tom Brenneman calls a home run while apologizing. One of the greatest videos of all time. True professional, Tom Brenneman, when it comes to knowing when the mic's on. But he gets pulled off and is like blackballed from everything. Now he's got a podcast. That's what he does. He's got a podcast.
He's getting back into it now.
2 days later, Bobby Huggins gets a 3-day suspension. So I'm in West Virginia, and everybody out there is like, listen, I'm gonna tell you. We talked about this the other day. I was in West Virginia, and you're like, I don't know, West Virginia is known for being a little different, right? You know what I mean? It's a little more loose with stuff like that, and I was like, man, they're still on a liberal college campus. All college campuses are going to be pretty liberal like that. They're going to be going after this dude. They're going to want his head on campus.
And a lot of people have wanted him fired immediately.
Yeah. So I'm talking to all these guys out there, and some of them are like, he's gone. But the majority were like, look, it's West Virginia. There a lot of people are willing to forgive and forget stuff like that if you keep doing what you do. And I was like, wow, okay, all right, there you go. And they did. So here's my thought. Can I tell you what my thoughts are?
Please do.
West Virginia, I've been doing it the whole time. I've interrupted you 3 times now.
You have.
West Virginia, AD and the president, whoever they are, they say we are investigating. And by investigating, I think that means we are calling all of our donors and we're saying, hey, if we fire Bob Huggins, will we still get your money? And I think they kind of made a call off of who said yes and who said no. Because Bob Huggins is a salesman when it comes to that. He's out drinking and boozing it up with all those boosters all the time.
Yeah. And
they probably love him.
Yeah, you would think so. Yeah, UC boosters got a lot bigger while Huggins was there, I feel like. There are a few things. One, and you can think of it as an excuse, whatever. Maybe it is, but it's not, because I'm not excusing him. He is 69 years old.
Yeah.
Everybody knows mostly older folks have a harder time with the way things are now. Mm-hmm. We've evolved a lot over the last 20, 30 years, especially in the last 10, 15. And when things were a certain way, even though they were wrong then, things were a certain way.
Sure.
In the 60s and 70s and 80s and even 90s. And people have, when they've lived more of their life in a time where people were saying that more freely, it's harder, I'm sure, for people for those people to come around, to evolve, to understand what's going on now.
Sure. Right? Yeah, totally. It's the whole grandpa, man, my grandpa, Jeezel Pete's. You hear comedians do it all the time. Grandpa, racist grandpa, or whatever, homophobic grandpa, all that stuff.
However, he teaches young people. He is a coach. He's he's been in the media, in the limelight, in the public eye. He has to know better.
He definitely knows
that
better.
Should give him an edge to,
like I said,
know exactly what he needs to do.
He was half crocked on a Monday, man. He was he was sussed up. He went out and had a couple Manhattans, 3-4 Manhattans ready, for lunch, and was said, yeah, I'll talk to old Willie. Hey, Willie. And Willie is a Xavier alumni and a Catholic cigarette himself.
That's right. And but they've known each other a long time.
Sure.
Willie had one of Huggins' former assistants on with him at the time.
Mm-hmm.
There was a room of 2 or 3 people that Huggins knew and was very comfortable with.
Mm-hmm.
You hear all the time, a little less now, I guess, but as things started really evolving recently in the last decade or two, locker room talk.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
When guys get together, stuff gets said.
Conversation's a little different than it is out in public.
That's right. And Huggins and Bill Cunningham did let him know, but I felt like it was real fast. Is just part of his, hey, welcome to the show. It's, you're live on the air, Bob, and this and this and this and this and this. And I felt like it was just a little quick passing.
See, I didn't hear the whole thing.
Air.
Doesn't matter. He's got to know. He has to know he's on. He's called the show to be on the show.
Yeah, and the way they're talking and everything. So there's no way he didn't know he was on the air.
And that's the other thing Willie did. Willie just let him go. Willie didn't stop him. He actually was giggling and then said, "You're the best." Like,
oh man, I can't believe you said that. It's this guy will say anything.
Yeah, this is Bob Huggins. You're the best, man. You don't hold back.
And that reminded me of a situation that I was in one time, and probably several times actually, where, and I'm sure you've been in it too, because you're in those situations with a bunch of guys, probably friends, and you're, especially when alcohol's involved and stuff, and people say stuff. And even if you in your mind right away go,
ooh, not comfortable. Yeah.
But you don't always, it's hard in those situations sometimes to speak up.
Yeah.
The right thing to do is probably to speak up. But I've definitely been in situations where I'm like, that's not okay, but I didn't say anything.
I don't see, and that's a tough one. I've had this conversation with a buddy of mine, and he's like, if you heard somebody drop an N-bomb, would you say something to him? And it's like, I don't. this depends on the situation and what's going on. I can't guarantee you that I would get get to a point where I want to confront them about it, because most of the time I'm not a confrontational person.
Mhm.
So just because I'm not comfortable with it doesn't mean that I have to be the one. I don't feel like I have to do that, or you have to do that, because in some situations it could go downhill fast, and I don't want to be in that situation. It's easier to let it to try to get it by real quick and move on. I know that's wrong. I feel like that's wrong. I feel like everything I just said is going to be taken like that's not what you should do. But I don't know. That's a tough one.
Yeah. And you're right.
But I
too.
guarantee I've done it. I know I have 100%. I've done it where I'm just like, ooh, yeah, I'm not 100% sure about that one, bud, but not say anything. Sometimes I do say something.
Yeah.
I don't be confrontational about it. I'll just go, ooh, that might have been a little too far, and then turn around and start talking about something else, right?
Yeah.
I'm not going to necessarily get on you, but like, ooh, oh, that took a turn for the worst.
Yeah.
All right, so how about those Bearcats?
Yeah. Right. Yeah. And I remember specifically time that I was working in production with just guys, just like 3 or 4 guys. And, we're working and talking all day.
Mm-hmm.
And this one guy, he did it a couple times. And, he had, I know that he had black friends, and, but he used the N-word, and there
Just
were,
like it's in his normal conversation.
yeah. And it was, it was it was in context where he's not
talking
not
about.
well, no, it's not a playful,
Oh,
and it's
oh,
just referring to a certain race of people.
okay.
And I'm like, I mean, I thought about it for probably 2 months, and it bothered me every day.
How do I say something to have him stop doing that around?
I almost went to our supervisor, and I thought about, man, do I do, it really, man, it really bothered me. And I just couldn't figure out what to do about it. I think you're right. The right thing to do is right away be like, hey, we're not doing that here, man.
Don't do that with me. Yeah, that's the right thing.
But you're right. In
It's
different
not easy.
situations, nobody was, all of the people there were white.
Yeah.
It might have even just been he and I and one other person. And so nobody else heard that. So I know, nobody is directly like furious and offended because he's talking to them or about them.
So I think that's another part of it.
For sure.
If someone's around that's going to offend, then it becomes, hey man, hey, come on, man. Look what's around you. Pay attention. Don't not here, not the right time, not the right place. Mm-hmm. Not that there is a right time, right place, but hey, this definitely isn't it. Mm-hmm. And then, maybe that gets them to think a little bit harder about how they talk. But yeah. I've had to do that, but I have done that before.
Is that right?
Oh yeah. I was like, hey, maybe we should maybe not. Maybe tone that down just a little bit. Maybe tone it down just a little bit.
Yeah. And now, I mean, that was the big one for a while. Now there are more. This word that Bob Huggins used, the R word. I mean, that one's out too, for sure. And it was, I don't know. It's just,
it's the locker room talk, man. It's the locker room talk.
And here's the thing. That still happens. It's still going to happen. It's not right. I really hope. I've been around places like that and
oh yeah,
heard it. But hopefully, as we keep evolving, we get to where locker rooms, NFL locker rooms, sports locker rooms, especially like professionally, college and pros, they're in a place where everybody's now advanced enough to be like, let's just not talk like that.
Yeah.
I mean, there's still going to be, macho stuff. Guys are still have all that testosterone around each other and everything. And stuff's going to happen. Stuff's going to be said, but hopefully it gets less and less as we continue on, because really, if you're doing that, if you're comfortable with it, like I'm sure it was a while ago, that's going to spill over. Yeah. And something's going to happen. Things have definitely happened in the past. And it hopefully, because it's no good. I mean, I don't know. I mean, you can be different. I certainly speak differently to certain people than I do to other people. Yeah. No doubt about it. But you just, if you eliminate that kind of stuff from your language altogether, no matter who you're around, no matter how much you've had to drink or not drink, everything's going to be a lot easier. Then you don't find yourself in a situation where, oops, I forgot for a moment where I was, and on the strongest radio station in the country, on the biggest, one of the biggest talk show hosts in the country, show, you say something like that. And
his apology was pretty weak.
Did you think so?
I mean, the original statement was just kind of, I accept any punishment. I stand on it. I made a mistake. It is, shouldn't have done it. Accept anything that comes my way. I don't feel like there was actually, like, he wasn't sorry about it. He's like, oop, yep.
Did you hear the audio of that?
I didn't hear the audio.
Oh,
I heard the audio was much better.
See, I thought I didn't hear the audio. I thought the written word was, number one, probably from a publicist.
100%.
And number two, I thought was perfect. Like I thought it was exactly what, I feel like he's done everything he needed to do.
Sure.
To be absolved of it, not absolved, but to not try get fired.
And how about the fact that it didn't get picked up almost on any radio? I was listening to ESPN, and with the Dan Patrick show was on, whatever that's on, and I'm listening to all these different national show. Doug Gottlieb did. I was listening to a bunch of, and it might have got talked about for a second, but that was it. And that could be another reason why West Virginia was like 2 days into this and it's already past us. All right, let's go ahead and just make this happen. Yeah, forget about it.
Yeah,
like it wasn't a huge topic, like people were calling for his head. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know. I've heard enough that people are upset, and a lot of people said that they wanted him fired and stuff, but I guess I haven't been able to listen to sports talk radio a lot the last couple of days, but if you search for it on YouTube, there's a ton of videos of other people, people with online shows and stuff talking about it. But I don't know, man. He's 69 years old. You got to think that he's done soon anyway.
That was my first thought, was this is the perfect opportunity for West Virginia to move on from Bob Huggins,
to invite him to retire. Huh?
Yeah, it was the perfect opportunity. I mean, like you said, he's 69 years old. It's not like he's bringing in Final Four teams anymore. He's not, he does decent from what I understand in the transfer portal, but he's not recruiting terrific players. He recruited Trisha Mackey's kid who never saw the floor. I don't know. I don't think that he's done anything super impressive to, like, I can't believe they weren't just like, all right, this is our opportunity. Let's get him out of here, get some fresh faces in here, and let's move on.
Yeah. He's a Hall of Famer.
He's a
legendary coach. He's
the active, what is it? Coach with the most active coach with the most wins. Most wins for an active coach. There we go. I got it. Turn it around, spit it out, flip it sideways. It'll come out correctly.
Since Boeheim left and Krzyzewski left, he's got like 935 or something like that. Now it would take him 3 years to get to 1,000. So I don't know if he's trying to hold on for that or what. I kind of doubt it.
He's got everything he needs. It's not, what is that going to do?
He doesn't have a championship. He's not going to get one in the next few years either.
He's not getting one.
Probably not.
Although we are in a time now, like this era of college basketball, there is no team that would surprise me if they won.
I heard that he already had like 2 or 3 of the best transfer portal pickups. Like I heard he had a really good offseason.
Well, that's what those guys were all telling me out in West Virginia. They're like, man, he's great in the transfer portal.
Yeah. Do you think he should have been fired?
I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say no. I also don't think that Tom Brenneman should have been fired. I feel like there's sensitivity. You come out and say you do a lot of stuff, and I think that what West Virginia is doing is probably closer to what I wish the Reds would have done for Tom Brenneman. I feel like everybody deserves a second chance, and you realize you're doing something wrong, and maybe that is the kick in the face. Maybe not for a guy like Bob Huggins, but maybe that's the kick in the face that gets somebody to change a little bit. I don't know if that's true, but if it happens again, boom, gone. Don't have to worry about it, right? But there's a little part of me that's got a soft spot for a second chance.
Okay.
What about you? You think you should have been canned immediately?
No.
There you go.
I don't.
So we actually agree on that. So I don't. It's that's
one more thing that I have on this. So you hear like, so I've heard in the past about his language with his players and practices
Sure.
and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And I've also heard in the last couple of days, people come out and be like, Bob Huggins is the best guy you could ever imagine. He's so good with everybody at the school, just everybody he comes in contact with. He's so great with people. Somebody said that they've been around him for so many years and they've never heard him say that word.
So that's tough for me. Can I just say something about that though? Because I truly believe that, like you said, he's 69 years old. The guy's old as molasses, right? Like, I believe
we
that
gotta be careful. Our parents are kind of starting to get.
Yeah, that's true. But I believe that you can get to a point where like that's part of a language that you used in the past, and you can say that. But I don't necessarily believe that means that he's homophobic or that he's against anything. It's just like sometimes it's just a word that's used, and it's not. I get it. That it's
a lot heavier now than it used to be.
It is a lot heavier now, but it's like there's a lot of words that I don't think just because you say it, just because you hear somebody say it, that makes them homophobic or it makes them not like gay people or, right. I get it that it's the word that you're using for them, and it's a negative connotation. It has a negative connotation in their world and our world and the world. Sorry. But I also believe that there's people that I'm not a Bob Huggins fan. I can't stand him, but I'm not going to sit here and act like I know that he hates gay people,
right?
Or that he's got a problem with them or he thinks anything. I don't 100% believe that. Mm-hmm. So I think that's just something that came out of old boy's mouth because like we said.
And he was talking about, he was referring to a specific incident to talk about that. That's what brought that word out. And either way kind of doesn't matter, but I think it matters a little bit. It's not like he just threw that word out of nowhere.
Right. Whoever bought that, whatever Xavier fan bought that bag of dicks 25, 30 years ago, that has come around to be one of the best investments of his life.
I gotta see if there's some kind of video. I don't remember hearing about
it. Me neither. I like when I heard that, I'm like, what? I feel like I would know something about that.
That makes me feel a lot better because I'm like, am I blind? If you don't know about it, and that was in the crosstown shootout. All right.
It was on their floor. So if it was on TV, they probably didn't talk about it. They probably didn't even try not to show it. Maybe they go away from it and they just say, maybe there was a pause in the game, something like that. And the guys talked. But there was I don't think TV wise it was ever brought up.
I'm sure they wouldn't have wanted to.
They're not zooming in.
Wouldn't have wanted to talk about it.
They're not zooming in with the camera from the top on a 6-inch penis or 16-inch penis sitting in the middle of the floor.
And if it was that long ago, no cell phones with cameras either.
100%.
That happened in NFL games in the last few years, and people are their pictures all
pictures everywhere. Yeah.
So,
do you know you can buy a bag of dicks?
I did not know that.
Somebody said that. Somebody the other day, it was like somebody said somebody they got sent on the front porch. There was a box and he opens it up and there's a bag inside the box, and on the bag it says bag of dicks. He opened it up and it was just a bag of dicks.
Somebody sent them to it as like a prank or something? Okay. Yeah. Okay.
I thought that was pretty funny.
Listen, shout out to what ended up being last week's Mount Rushmore, which was the Mount Rushmore of Richards.
Lots of it ended up just being the Mount Rushmore.
Yeah. Paul Butkus, Trickle Petty.
Yeah. Yes.
Anyway, Bob Huggins, he's getting, financially, he's deducted $1 million from his salary. His contract is now 1 year at a time. He's going to go through sensitivity training. and he's going to make a donation to.
I didn't hear the Xavier donation part, but the
Xavier
sensitivity training just makes me laugh. Bob Huggins and sensitivity training. Come on.
It sounds well,
good for
it
him.
Does.
Good for him. Sit through it, and I hope he pays attention.
You know what? It might be silly and it might do nothing, but it might be.
It could be.
I bet it's a bigger thing all over the place.
Yeah.
Like we have every single person that gets employed at where I work, very first day, you go through a 9-hour training, and that's part
of it. Yeah.
So, and I think a lot of companies
9 hours. That's crazy. So like an entire day, and then just randomly the first hour of your second day.
Actually, I think it's the first 2 days, but it seems like they're there from like
I was just
8 to 5.
I got you. Yeah.
Anyway, but a lot of places are doing that, and it's a good idea. I mean, if that's what you read, I think was from West Virginia. Is that right? So that's probably the right thing to do everywhere, even, especially at a school, I guess. I mean, you're around a lot of different people at a college, and you got to make sure you have people that aren't going to start trouble with silliness like that.
So Xavier's redoing the Cintas Center next year after this coming year. It would be pretty entertaining. They're making a couple new bar areas, like standing room only with some bar. If they took some of that money, threw it in there, and it was the Bob Huggins bar or something like that. It'd be pretty interesting if they found a way to incorporate that into having a brewski or two.
And they have a picture of him in a car with a police.
100%. Yes. The one where he's standing there. That's a great picture.
All right. Well, look, he's being punished, and we agree that it's probably not. And look, maybe it's because we're not specifically offended by that word. I mean,
sure.
If anybody's going to be offended, I guess you could be, because you're a Xavier fan and you're
I'm Catholic, and I'm a Catholic cigarette, I guess.
And you're gay. You've been gay a long time, but
anyway, it's 2023. If you're not bisexual, you're just gay.
Oh man, I love that. I love that it goes every year. It's 2022.
Yep.
It's 2021.
Doesn't matter. It carries on. The joke carries on forever.
Oh man. Okay. So
is that locker room talk?
That's right.
That joke, is that a bad joke? Is that probably not good?
I guarantee that if certain people heard that, they're like, you can't joke about being gay if you're not. That's the other part too, is like, we both watch so much comedy, and especially all the comedy podcasts that and guys are way less careful about what they say on those than if they're putting out a special.
Yeah.
And man, I'm telling you, that 3-letter F word gets thrown around still sometimes. And
those European cigarettes, man, I tell you what.
Yeah. It's interesting that it's like, it's still a funny word in that world.
Yeah. If you use it the correct way in a joke, right? I mean,
well, it depends on how you interpret it. If you want it to be,
dude, that's 100% right.
If you allow it to be a joke in your mind, it can be.
Yeah. But if you want to get offended by it, then you can go ahead and get offended by it. I think so. Here's the other thing, the freedom of speech. This is another one that I heard. This one makes me laugh. One guy, so these two guys kind of got in a little heated argument. The one guy's like, I think they should can him. It's ridiculous. And the other guy goes, well, what about freedom of speech? You can say whatever you want. And the guy goes, yeah, I could walk up to you and MF you 3-4 times. Freedom of speech, but there's consequences for it. You're going to knock me out.
Yeah.
There's a consequence for that. You can have freedom of speech, but that means that you don't get any consequences. Like, there's no freedom of consequence.
Right.
That's not the law. You say whatever you want to say, but there are going to be consequences for it.
That's right.
And in some cases, it's $1 million a year.
Yeah. Yeah. There you go. All right. Let's put a bow on Bobby Hugs and move on.
That's pretty put a bow on him. Oh, that's pretty.
Put a bow on Bobby Hugs. Doesn't it sound like a teddy bear?
It sounds pretty gay if you ask me.
Sounds pretty gay.
Sorry. I tried to end it with a joke. I did the best I could. Be offended. I'm sorry.
I'm a Catholic cigarette.
I'm a Catholic cigarette. Yeah. Come get me. I feel like Bobby Huggins was talking directly to me. I'm a Xavier fan and a Catholic cigarette. Come get me, Bobby. Come get me.
Oh man.
Anyway, Let's move on to the NBA playoffs, shall we? Because
Please.
should we let's start with what happened in what I believe was game 3 or 4 in Phoenix with the Joker and the part owner of the Phoenix Suns.
That's right.
Okay, so I can't remember who it was for the Phoenix Suns, goes into the crowd trying to save a ball. He's in the crowd. The owner is in the front row, grabs the ball. He's holding on to it because Jokic is trying to get out on a fast break and get a 5-on-4 break, right? Like, that's the whole point. He's trying to get the ball and get it out so he can take advantage of this guy that's in the crowd for Phoenix. That's the point of him running over and trying to rip the ball out. And then the pushing and shoving goes on, a little chicken wing happens, and the Joker knocks out, almost knocked him out, almost knocked out the owner of the Phoenix Suns as he flopped backwards into his chair. That was somebody said for a flop in the NBA, you get fined $5,000. They should have just fined him $5,000. That's what they should have done for the beautiful flop that he had. Anyway, before we get into what we think about all of it, turn around, next game, he's in the front row. Jokic walks up pregame, hands him the ball. They have a good laugh. All's fun and loving hip hop or something.
Loving basketball. Good movie.
So I'm excited about this because you think that we are not going to agree on whatever your feeling is.
And I feel even more that way.
Can I tell you something? I have I don't really have a feeling either way about it. So maybe I do. Maybe I have more of a feeling than I think I do, and I need it to come out. That could be. I could feel like, it was dumb. You feel, let me guess how you feel. You feel Jokic should have been suspended. You feel Jokic was in the wrong. You feel that the Joker should never have put his hands on anyone in the crowd.
That is 66% true.
Okay.
I don't
2
know
out of the 3.
I don't know that I think he should have been suspended, but
okay.
I think he's 100% in the wrong. I think he should, and he got fined, especially for his comments after the game that he was like, he put his hands on me. We're supposed to be protected. This is a fan. I don't care who he is. I don't care if he's an owner. He's just a fan.
The NBA protecting me line was kind of sad.
It was stupid.
And the crazy part is the guy in the second row got kicked out of the game.
Well, because he actually touched him.
Right.
The other guy didn't really. He as Jokic was putting his forearm into him, he put his hand on his hip or something just because they were almost touching anyway.
The biggest reason that he did it, though, was because he was trying to hold on to the ball and not let Jokic get it.
But he wasn't even. That's the thing. I don't know why I'm seeing this in such a different way than everybody. First of all, the ball comes to him. All right. He picks the ball up. I think it was Josh Okogie dove or fell into that first row onto the guy right next to the owner. And so dead ball. All right. Okogie is in they're kind of, you check to make sure nobody's hurt and that kind of thing. They won't give you a fast break opportunity because the official has to have the basketball first. When a player goes into the crowd like that, they're not going to let you get a quick out in that situation.
Not necessarily. If that guy's falling out and the ball gets to the official, he might just hand it right back.
You will almost never see that. Almost never. Jokic, and then the guy picked up the basketball and is looking at the guy that Okogie fell into and looking at him, and they're getting him up, and he's looking at him. While he's doing that, holding the ball, because it's a dead ball, the official hadn't come over even yet to get the ball. Jokic runs over, grabs the guy, doesn't even see him yet.
Sure. I know where you're going with this.
Just tries to aggressively snatch the ball out of his hands. And I'm telling you, your first intuition, if you don't see a guy coming and they just try to grab a ball hard out of your arms, I think you're going to tense up and try to hold on to it. And I'm
Okay.
I'm telling you,
I feel you. I feel you.
he wasn't trying to keep him. Everybody's like,
I think I agree with you.
everybody's like, he's trying to hold on to the ball so Jokic can't. Like, 'cause I even heard people say he's grabbing the ball from Jokic. What the?
Oh, that didn't
what
happen.
the
No,
Catholic
he's-
cigarette are you talking about? I mean, it's
What the Catholic cigarette are you talking about? Okay, so I'm watching this as you talk. All right, so Jokic is already upset because he thinks he's trying to figure out what's going on with the out of bounds call. So he's got his hands up already, complaining to the ref. He sees the ball in the guy's hands, and he's not letting go of it. The guy's trying to help up. What's his name?
I think it was Josh Okogie.
There you go. Yeah, the super hoagie, trying to help out the hoagie, and he's holding the ball as he's lifting him up, and then all of a sudden Jokic goes to grab it, and he like looks over in surprised, and he does clutch it. He does pull a little. It is a clutch.
Yep.
But like you said, I think I might agree with you on this. I've seen this one time, and it was on ESPN when I was brushing my teeth, and I was just like, oh my God. And then I just heard everybody talking about it from there. But actually sitting down and rewatching this, I mean, I think I half agree with you. I'm not going to act like I don't think. Here's what I think. I don't think either of these guys should have got anything. Jokic wants the ball. He looks mad. He looks mad at this guy. Like he ran over at him like he was pissed.
Yeah.
That guy was still had the ball.
But it was 3 seconds after the play ended. I mean, like I said, the ball has to go to the official first anyway. It's not Jokic's job to go get the ball. He has nothing to do with that. And by the way, he wants to talk about, well, the fans are putting their hands on me. We're supposed to be protected. You can't let fans touch me. You ran to the stands, bud. You ran to the fans.
Yeah.
You're in their area, and you cannot let him get away with shoving a forearm. And you know what? It was a flop. It was not nearly as big a flop as I think everybody's saying.
No, I mean,
his legs are the back of his legs are against a seat.
Yeah.
And a 300-pound 6'11" guy is giving you a forearm.
It's the hands flying in the air. That's where everybody talks about the flop, right? That's where it comes from.
But he still shoved him with his forearm.
Yeah.
You can't go. He should be protected from that, just from Ron Artest running into the stands to go punch somebody.
Yeah.
Just as much as somebody coming onto the floor to do that. You can't let Jokic. You can't expect fans to not do anything and let players just go to the stands and push people and touch people.
Yeah, I mean, the more I'm watching this, I think I might agree with you. It doesn't make any sense why he sprinted over there. I mean, he like bum rushed the dude.
Yes.
Like at what he looks at him and he's looking at him as the guy's holding it. And then he just runs over and tries to rip it out. And they're all like, hey man, what are you doing? And then he acts like he didn't do anything, gives him a kick. And when they pushes him down, the guy from behind the next row puts his hand up, doesn't push him or hit him, just to be like, hey man, what are you doing?
He did try to push him.
Yeah, but he's telling him, hey, what are you doing? Like, you shouldn't be here.
And you know what? And I'm fine with that guy being kicked out because he reached over and touched him and tried to push him a little bit. But the owner, Mat Ishbia, didn't really do anything physical. He got pushed back. I don't even care if you want to say it was a flop or whatever. Yeah. He did get nudged by a giant person and fell into his seat.
He's a giant person too.
But he handled it perfect. Didn't yell at him, didn't cuss at him.
I
didn't
totally
try
agree
to
with
push
that
back.
because he could have, as a fan sitting there, you could do something worse.
Yeah,
but he's an owner and he knows his place. I think.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm telling you, I was disgusted. I'm rooting for Denver in this series because it means more to me to see Jokic play in the next series than it does for me to see Booker and Durant play.
Yeah.
I just want to see that guy play more. But you can't go to the stands, put your hands on people, try to rip the ball out of somebody's hand.
I think as I've watched that like 6 times now,
easily.
100% he was. I think I agree with you now. I don't think that we disagree. I think like I said, I could be swayed either way. I didn't really have a huge thing, but 100% Jokic was the aggressor in this situation.
I love Nikola Jokic. I'm so upset with him about this.
You know
I
what
really am.
irritates? You know what's got me irritated? Like I love Jokic and I love Luka, but both of these guys seem like they're getting more and more of an attitude.
Yeah.
As they in this
They're
league
being
longer.
Americanized.
Yeah, that's it. I think that, I mean, there's something to that.
Yeah.
These guys are like watching this to start. The ball goes out of bounds. They're giving the ball to Denver. And the ref makes before the ref blows his whistle and says it's going this way, Jokic has already got his hands up complaining. He's already complaining. I'm so sick of just NBA players in general complaining on every single call. I'm sorry.
Me too.
I don't want to be overly dramatic. I am so sick and tired of NBA players complaining about 98% of the calls. It's not every call.
I disagree with you. It is every call. It's multiple times. It's multiple calls or missed calls on every single possession. Somebody's angry. Somebody's saying something to the official.
Every shot you're fouled. Every shot somebody's fouled on.
Yep.
Every time they take the ball to the basket, they're fouled.
Or there's no way I fouled the guy. And then replay shows like absolute murder.
Yeah. Or that, or the exact opposite, where a guy's bum. It just happened in this game. What's his name? In the first quarter of Game 5 of Denver and LA, before we started this podcast here on Wednesday. What did I say? Denver, Golden State. Draymond Green got the ball and just bum rushed. Can't remember who it was for LA. Just sprinted into him with his shoulder down and threw a shot up and made it. And they called an and one. And he is jawing with Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis didn't foul him, but he's yelling at Anthony Davis out at the free throw line, because that's what he does. He loves jawing with him. And they show the replay, and the guy was running backwards with him. And he's just, the only contact was Draymond Green dropping his shoulder down as the guy was trying to back away from him. And they call foul on that. And he, so there's complaint, and he complained about, like, are you kidding? Which he deserves to. Sometimes you deserve to complain a little bit, because it is a bad call.
There are bad calls all the time.
There's bad calls all the time, but it's, I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't say that you deserve to complain about that, because you still don't, because referees are going to make mistakes. I tell the kids on the basketball team all the time, they come out and they're like, oh my God, this ref sucks. Because they hear the coaches going, this dude's missing everything. Can you believe he missed out again? It's been 4 travels right here in front of us. And you gotta be careful with, 9 and 10-year-olds, because they'll hear you and they start complaining. Yep. And I'll turn around and I'll give them a tongue lashing from the fiery depths of hell.
Yeah.
About, don't ever talk about a referee. Don't ever talk to a referee, and don't ever complain about anything a referee does. They have the most difficult job out here.
Yes.
And you play through it. You don't like it, then do it better next time. Make it so they don't miss the call next time.
Mm-hmm. That's right. That's good coaching.
Move your feet. How about move your feet instead of reaching for the ball? That might work.
Yeah.
I don't care if you touched him or not. He went by you. Your feet were stuck in concrete, and you slapped at the ball. You might have missed, but you shouldn't have done it.
One of my favorite things when I see this in basketball is when a player commits a foul, and I do this all the time. A player commits a foul. They call the foul, and the player looks like, oh, what? How could you? And they look at you as the coach, and the coach goes, yeah, you fouled him.
Yeah.
Stop reaching.
Yeah. Yep.
It's just, I don't know.
I love like in the jumping, like they jump up to try to block a shot and clearly wind up and swing and hit a guy on his forearm and go, what? I was all ball. And everyone around is going, what? What? That was you. Like, you are the one that did that.
If I was a coach in the NBA right now and my player obviously fouled a guy and he goes like this, because every single play they're doing this now too for the challenge.
Right. Yeah. They want everything to be challenged immediately, and you get one.
Yeah. You get one in the game.
Yeah, let's
whether
use
you
it.
win it or lose
Let's
it.
use it in the first 5 minutes of the first quarter. That's a good time to use a challenge.
Right.
Shut up, Draymond. Put your finger down.
It's everybody's doing it.
I know.
And- and-
I'm just picking on Draymond.
Your favorite pastime. If I'm a coach and my player does that, we watch film the next day. If I see that and you did that, fine $5,000.
I love it. Yeah.
Don't look at the bench and make the motion to challenge it if you definitely, obviously fouled a guy for sure.
Yeah.
Man, it's the one thing that I hate. I'm going to use the H word. I hate about the NBA is the way players react every single possession.
And
I'm
going to tell you, it feeds down, man. People see it and it feeds down. It goes down into college basketball. It's a little easier to rein it in college basketball because number one, they're younger. It seems, it's different because it's college instead of, you're not a professional, even though a lot of these guys are making a lot of money now. Yeah. Not a lot of these guys. Some of these guys are making a lot of money now. Most of the guys in college are not making like a huge wage off this NIL stuff, but there are guys doing it. But for a lot of these people, it means a lot more. So it's a little easier to coach them and threaten them, right? Yeah. As opposed to in the NBA where you have a contract signed and they're going to be on your bench whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
But it is still trickling down a little bit because it happens in college basketball all the time. High school basketball.
It's the same thing. Another complaint I'm going to have, old man complaint, is all the taunting. Taunting happens so much. A lot of it is with whatever gesture they're doing or whatever, but looking at a guy, staring a guy down or stepping over it and that kind of stuff. Like, and puffing your chest out and doing all these motions and stuff after you make a play, especially when it's directed at somebody.
Yeah.
High school kids are doing it. You see it all over the internet. AAU's really bad with it. Grade school kids are doing it. It's getting, those two things about sports culture are getting worse, and it's very disappointing. Yeah. And hopefully they figure out how to rein it in, because you have too many people that you have to let them be emotional and play with passion, and you got to let a little stuff go. But the way the whole culture has shifted because of that stuff, I think it's poison.
My thing about that whole, I agree with you. The thing about, I feel like having energy and showing emotion is okay.
Yeah, of course.
But there's a way to do it. You don't have to show emotion directly at the other team.
It's mostly negative emotion now.
That's the thing. That's what I don't like. If you hit a big shot and you are super pumped up and you're looking at your bench and you do your gestures, I don't even care the whatever the ice in your veins or the three goggles. If you're looking at your bench and you're talking with your guys, but when you do that to the other team, that is where or you're looking into the stands of another team. If you're the road team and you're doing it why be excited that you just did something really good. I'm totally cool with that. Throw down a huge dunk. Don't sit there and stare and yell at the guy who you landed next to after you dunk. There's no reason to yell at him. Look at your team, get pumped up with your team. Positive energy. Right? Like you said, there's no need for negative energy. I hate negative energy. Positive energy. All positive energy.
Yeah.
That's why we've had only one rain out this year, because of positive energy.
Nice. Yeah. Serrano's really cooking up something in his locker there, huh?
That's right, baby.
Nice. All right.
F you, Joe Boom. I do it myself.
Very good.
That's positive energy right there.
Yeah.
You can drop an F-bomb and still have positive energy.
You get the little necklace out and tap it on your bat on the thing and give the positive energy into your bat and everything.
Yep.
I think I feel a little bit better. You agreed.
Yeah. I'm not going to disagree with you. I watching it like clearly 4 or 5 times from 2 different angles. I think I'm now surprised at listening to everybody on the radio
you.
talking the way that actually sitting and watching this, it is surprising the way they talked about that.
Thank you.
Because it did sound like he grabbed the ball. I never saw him actually grabbing the ball. The only clip I saw before this was just Jokic reaching and a ball flying up, and then give the chicken wing. I never saw all the stuff beforehand that I just watched while we were doing this, and that makes a huge difference. That dude wasn't doing anything except reaching over to help his buddy up, and the ball's out of bounds. It's a dead ball. Clock is stopped. He's just reaching over, and Jokic walks 2 steps, and then like some kind of fit of rage came over him and sprinted at that man, and probably scared you can see in his eyes. He was a little like he was scared for a second.
I would have been terrified.
Could you imagine a 7'2" German or whatever? He's not German. What is he? Yugoslavian or
Slovenian or
Slovenian. Well, I feel sorry if we said the wrong country for him. It's we're not geographically smart in any way, shape, or form. I'm not going to act like I am.
No. Okay. I feel better.
Good.
Do we need to touch on any other you know what
any other happenings?
This isn't going to make sense if you're listening to this, but what's going on in the Lakers game right now?
So the Knicks won to make it 3-2 in that series.
Yep.
And
they're down 3-2.
Yeah, sorry. The Heat are up 3-2. Yeah. We are currently almost at halftime. And it is this right? Is this updated?
I got 4:10 left in the third quarter.
Okay, yeah, that was definitely not
Golden
updated.
State 87, Lakers 73.
Okay. All right. Yep, that's what I got. 4:10, 87, 73. In a 14-point game, to be honest with you, that's in the NBA, in an NBA game, that's a tie game.
Right. Yep.
The runs that these teams are going on are insane. I don't know that I've seen scoring spurts like this. And the three has, I know it's changed the game for a long time now, but it's amazing.
Oh yeah.
The spurts that these guys go on. 4 threes in 25 seconds. And you're like, what just happened? That in turnovers. Why is the NBA? Why are NBA players turning the ball over so much? There are so many turnovers in an NBA game. Stupid turnovers. Terrible. And it's like nobody cares because they're going to get 400 more possessions.
Yeah.
Right. It means nothing. Like it literally looks like they could care less that they just threw a ball 500 feet over a guy's head on a cross court pass into the 5th row. And they just all kind of walk back and jog back and go to the next play because they're going to get the ball back in 5 seconds.
Yeah. Next play mentality is great, but it doesn't seem like they're always valuing possessions like they should be for sure. All right. So you mentioned Miami's up 3-2 in that series. That Philly-Boston series has been pretty crazy, and Philly just went up 3-2 in that series yesterday. You've got 3-2, Denver's up 3-2 in that series, and the Lakers are 3-1. If the Warriors hold on, that'll be 3-2.
Mm-hmm.
So we got a bunch of 3-2s here going on now. We'll find out. I mean, by next week, we will have conference finals happening.
Pretty cool, man. I'm pretty excited for that.
Yeah.
Look forward to the Lakers Nuggets. That's going to be a fun series. I think that'll be, Anthony Davis is going to have to play out of his mind the entire, he's already probably the best defensive player left in the Western Conference right now.
You saying he's going to have to play out of his mind beach volleyball?
Yeah.
He'll be on vacation or?
Oh, you got the Warriors, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, by the time we're done with this podcast, by the time we're done with this podcast, it may be different.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. We may be making an announcement. We want to bet a pie in the face. I bet you that I bet a pie to the face that the Lakers win tonight.
Here's why I'm going to say no to that.
Okay.
I've gotten one real pie in the face in my life.
And it was from the pie in the face master.
It was from the king of pies in the face.
Yeah.
And that's the only one I'm ever going to take.
I'm totally fine with that. So we'll never bet a pie in the face then.
Yep.
Okay. Deal. Yep. Sounds good.
All right. So let's go to Mount Rushmore this week was number 1 overall picks in the Major League Baseball draft.
Yes.
which is coming up in it's in June, right?
The only the only sport that drafts during their season.
That's right. So you have do you have your list, or you're pulling it up now?
I've got, so I did not write down a list. I've got
But
my,
you
I
have a
know
list.
who,
Yeah.
I know who they are.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously it's Ben McDonald, Jeff King, Sean Abner, and Chris Benson. Oh, Chris Benson actually was pretty decent there for a while.
Yeah, that's what I have too.
Yeah. Pat Burrell. Remember Pat Burrell?
I do.
I like going back and look at these. So you remember Dimitri Young. His brother was a number 1 overall pick for the Tampa Bay Devil Rays and played a decent amount for the Devil Rays, if I'm not mistaken. That being said, let's talk about some of the good ones that have come out, right? So I went back to 1965, which I believe was the first year of the draft, and the very first draft pick ever, Rick Monday.
Rick Monday.
I remember Rick Monday.
He had a good career.
Yep. You know, there's you know, you got Harold Baines in there. There's a Darryl Strawberry. You know, who are your Tim Belcher was a number 1 overall pick. How about that?
Belcher.
Old Cincinnati Red, Tim Belcher. So Adam Schmidt. Let's talk about who the best number 1 picks were overall, though. I believe that there's no doubt that we have the top one. We both have the same one. I mean, obviously Ken Griffey Jr. is one of the top 4 players of all time. So he's definitely on the Mount Rushmore of number 1 overall pick. Can we just agree with that?
My number 1 overall pick of the Mount Rushmore of number 1 overall picks.
I'm totally down for that. And I asked the other day who was the first, that 2010 draft, Bryce Harper or Mike Trout, and it was Bryce Harper, which Mike Trout probably has become the better player out of the two. Just a lot of that is just because of injuries that have happened to Bryce Harper, because the guy is but those might be the best ever 1-2 draft picks ever.
Yeah. Bryce Harper's got to be in that conversation.
Absolutely. And you know, you go back and look at these and there's some good ones, but who really stands out to me? You got Junior, you've got Chipper Jones, you've got Alex Rodriguez, and then it's tough from there, right? Because you got a whole lot of minutia. You got a whole lot of guys like this. This is who you got: Josh Hamilton, Joe Mauer, Adrian Gonzalez, Phil Nevin. Well, Phil Nevin's not even there. Justin Upton is in there. David Price would be in that. Steven Strasburg, Garrett Cole. Garrett Cole might be that guy. He might be that number 4. Now that I look at this, I'm probably gonna go. I loved Joe Mauer. Adrian Gonzalez, for a period of time, might have been one of the top players in Major League, was one of the top 4 players in Major League Baseball. But I think I'm going to go, it's between Adrian Gonzalez and Garrett Cole for number 4. So let's go. I'm going to make the decision right now. I don't have a pitcher on this, so let's put Garrett Cole in there.
Okay.
Oh, Garrett Cole over Adrian Gonzalez, even though Adrian Gonzalez, unbelievable baseball player, one of the greatest hitters of his generation.
That's right.
All right. So after all that, how do you feel? You got BJ Surhoff in there?
I got BJ Surhoff because I had a hologram card of him.
Yeah.
No, I have the 3 that you mentioned that were easy.
Yeah.
A-Rod, Junior, and Chipper. And then my 4th one was hard. It was. I had.
Tell me you went Joe Mauer.
I had between Joe Mauer,
I love
Josh Hamilton.
Josh Hamilton. Yeah.
And Bryce Harper.
Josh Hamilton probably had the most, that's obviously the
talent. I mean,
out of his gizzards.
I
you
wanted
ever seen
to
a picture of him when he was all coked out. Like, he didn't look, he weighed like 160 pounds or something like that.
I've gotten up to 160 now.
Good work, bud.
Thank you.
Good work, bud. But could you imagine that? Josh Hamilton weighing 160, 165 pounds.
He's such an athletic build too.
Yeah.
I mean, when he was in good shape.
Yeah.
First opening day of being an employee for the Cincinnati Reds, they had me go down and take, I think there were some stanchions or something, the little things with like the heavy base and the thing, and you pull the rope out.
Pull the rope out.
Connect them. We had to go down on the field and take those up like through the dugout and out onto the field and rope some stuff off. I did that while Josh Hamilton was out there taking infield.
Really?
Yes. And so I was like 20 feet away from the guy on opening day, 2013, I think it was.
Yeah.
So cool.
That is
It
awesome.
was awesome.
That's one of the coolest things that you probably got. I mean, you got to do
He
a
was
lot
playing
of
for
cool
the
stuff.
Rangers at the time, though.
Okay. So I got to say, so speaking of that, before we get to your fourth, either way, can I ask who thought that Ron Washington would be the right head coach for Josh Hamilton to keep that man sober, huh? Who thought Ron Washington and Josh Hamilton were probably doing lines in the bathroom, in the dugout, probably on the bench. I mean, like, you're going to put Josh Hamilton, this recovering addict who's got all kinds of issues, and you're going to have his head coach be Ron Washington?
Yeah, but they sent Johnny Nair in there with him, didn't they?
Yeah, John Nairn followed him. You think Ron Washington could out-talk anyone. He's going to out-talk around John Nairn to get Josh. He might have talked John Nairn into doing a line with him.
That's how
Let's put this hog leg down on a mirror and see what we can do, bub.
hog leg.
I don't know.
I love that. Yeah.
I think I heard that in the movie somewhere.
I love Ron Washington. I love Josh Hamilton. I hope they're both sober and clean. And
Ron Washington got busted while he was coaching.
Yeah.
While he was coaching with Josh Hamilton on his team.
But then he continued a great coaching career after that.
He's one of the best infield. He's known as like the infield guru of his time right now.
I don't coach baseball. I don't play baseball. I love watching Ron Washington videos on the internet.
If you go onto my YouTube, it probably pop up all the time.
I have seen them on
before every game. We do the Ron Washington drills where we get on a knee and do all the one hop, the picks. I call them pick progressions.
Yep. It's fun to watch him do it too. I mean, he might be 100 years old and he looks so smooth doing it still too. It's so cool.
Yep.
Joe Mauer.
I knew you were going to go Joe Mauer.
I love Joe Mauer.
I love Joe Mauer too, dude. I loved him. He was so good for so long. He was in the wrong place. You just die in Minnesota, man.
So they were really, really good with him and Morneau and a bunch of Francisco.
I agree with you, but he never got the notoriety. He was an unbelievable defensive catcher too. Not unbelievable. He was a good defensive catcher too. And then they moved him when Mauer left. They moved him to first base.
Yeah.
When Mauer left.
When Morneau left. Yeah.
Thank you. I'm just talking about Mauer.
Anyway,
good call. I like that. Well done. Well done. All right. So I've got this number in my head. I got to write down Baby J over here.
Yep. I've got mine written down too.
All right. Baby J's over here. So we are going to now switch on over to the comedic portion of this podcast, this talkcast.
Talk podcast.
I feel like it should be called a talkcast. Podcast still doesn't make any sense to me.
I heard not too long ago why it was called that, and I can't remember why now.
When we first started talking about doing this 7 years ago, 8 years, like, it's been a while. We've been in this house for 7 years. It was before this house. We did the very first one in the old house in the basement. But I remember thinking it literally sounds like something that should go to space. Like I'm in a pod casting off and just like I remember like, podcast. This is the goofiest thing I ever heard. Let's just talk and record it. That sounds like fun.
And man, it is a whole world to itself.
Everyone has a podcast now.
Yeah.
Back then, when we first started this, not everybody had a podcast.
It was us, Joe Rogan.
We might have had it before Joe Rogan. We might have been doing ours before Joe Rogan.
He's been doing his like 10 years, I think. He's on episode like 3,000 something. Maybe it's not that much, but
so
Mark Maron the same way. WTF is his podcast, and he's been doing it for 10 or 12 years. Or
you just get on and just start talking about your day and what's going on, and people chime in to listen.
Yeah,
it's like Facebook on steroids.
Yeah, I suppose so.
I still,
but it works for people who are famous, though.
Right, like us. That's why we are still doing this. What are we in now? We've got to be in year
at least 5, 6. Yeah, 5. Yeah, probably
5. Yeah. I mean, it was a year or two before COVID, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're 2020. I bet it was 18. I bet we started around 2018.
Yep, probably.
Yeah.
Yep.
Man. Hey, happy 5-year anniversary.
Hey, thanks. Happy. Yeah, same.
Yeah, how about that? Yeah, sure. Why not? We'll just call this our March. March was our 5 years. That's what we're gonna call it. We'll call it because we started in March again. Restarted in March.
That's right.
Man, I'll tell you what, bud. It's a whole lot of time in this basement.
Yeah.
There was 2 years where I was all by myself though.
Yeah. Yeah. We were there. It was just, split down you had a
the old
screen
split screen on the old Zoom time.
Yeah.
On the old Zoomer, on the old blue jeans.
All right. So speaking of during the pandemic, a lot happened to John Mulaney during the pandemic.
Boy, you ain't kidding. And he wanted. Do you remember when I was talking about the joke? Do you remember when I was talking about the drug dealer joke?
Yes.
And I was like, I've heard this before. Like, I was like, I don't understand. Like, I was telling, I feel like I don't know if we were talking about it on the air, not on the air, but I was like, that was the joke. That was my favorite part of the whole thing. I thought that was the best part, was breaking up with his drug dealer. I know I heard it on Sirius Radio before this ever came out. It was months ago when I first heard that. So it must have been one of the things where they picked it off when he was in the middle of doing his thing.
Working on it.
Yeah. Unbelievable. I was like, oh, I have heard this. I've heard this before.
Yeah.
So anyway, go ahead. I'll let you start off this.
By the way, this whole page, notes.
Oh,
that's the first time I've done that in a long time.
Good work. You got a page. I don't have a page of notes, but I'm glad you have a page of notes because let's bring up the bullet points and I'll tell you how I feel about some of it.
Most of these notes aren't going to make any sense now, I don't think. But
don't you hate that when you write something down and you go, ooh, what does that? I just tried to write something down real quick.
Yep. I've got grandparent died, attention in school.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Henry, he was a 5th grader. He was at the show.
Yeah.
Old Henry
up there.
Out,
that was pretty good.
How old are you, young man?
Yeah.
It talked about the intervention. Some of that stuff was he went and got his hair cut.
Somebody got to tackle him. Yes, that was good. So there was some funny parts to his journey.
He had dinner plans at 7. He also went to get a haircut at 7 and somehow in his drug mind thought he could make that work.
Yeah.
So he was like 3 hours late to what ended up being his
intervention. Yeah.
That he thought was dinner plan.
Are they still going to tackle him? I like that part.
Let's see. Dr. Michael, I wrote down.
Yeah, that was a little weird. The Dr. Michael thing got weird real quick.
When he went to the guy's apartment.
Yeah. The kitchenette, and he asked him, and he always wanted to give him a shot, but he had to take his shirt off.
Right. I wrote down Pete Davidson / Rodney Dangerfield / Al Pacino.
Yeah.
I wrote down in rehab. Oh, he was in rehab January 6th. So the insurrection wouldn't have happened on my watch.
Never happened before he went in, and it's never happened since.
Yeah. He didn't get recognized in that
was good where he pulled the magazine out. I like that.
Yeah. The paper, told the guys in the group, ask your daughter or your son if he's not an
athlete.
That was funny. Ask only certain sons, he said. Let's see. Buying a Rolex to pawn for cash, number 1, smarter than I would have ever thought. And also,
it's the weirdest story I've ever heard in my life.
Bought a Rolex. He couldn't get. I shouldn't be saying this because I want you to go watch it, but he set himself up to hopefully get better with the drugs by telling his financial guy, do not allow me access to money. But he had a credit card, so he bought a Rolex for $12,000 and pawned it for $6,000 so he could get $6,000 in cash that he could spend on drugs.
There you go.
He was willing to take a $6,000 hit so he could do drugs right away.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That is real though. I mean, that's unfortunately.
That's legit. I mean, that's for real.
Yeah. Just most people don't have that kind of money.
No, most people aren't doing it that way. There's a lot of people pawning things, not quite that way.
I said GQ article that he had no memory of giving.
And I want to find that GQ article because that didn't seem real, the way that he was like GQ. Oh, okay. And then asking I don't feel like they would have typed it out that way in the article. I feel like he pepped that up a little bit.
Maybe.
But still very humorous about the spoon and the the cereal and all that stuff. That was good. We're
Let's
not
see.
gonna be. You're gonna be way over top of me. You're gonna be way. Above. I can tell by the way you're reading these. You're gonna be way. I just didn't laugh as hard at this stuff.
He said there were, was it 12 people, I think? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. 12 people at his intervention.
Yeah.
And he said first names. And I was like trying to think, okay, I gotta get some of these people. Because he talked about he mentioned 3 people. He mentioned Fred Armisen, Nick Kroll, and Seth Meyers.
Seth Meyers right off the bat.
And he mentioned some other first names. So based on
what
those,
were the first names he said?
He said Fred, Burke, Mike, Bill, or wait, he mentioned some of the first names. He didn't mention all of them.
Okay.
But at the end, like before the credits, basically, as part of the credits, he listed everybody on that thing.
Okay.
So, but he did mention a couple first names, and I'm like, I was trying to think of like who they would be.
The best comedians, the funniest people in the world. That was good. I like that part. It was the funniest people in the world, and they made a deal that they couldn't do a bit during the thing.
He mentioned Mike and Bill, and I got those. because I tried to guess them before I saw it.
Bill Burr,
Bill Hader
from
Saturday
Night Live,
and Mike Birbiglia.
Okay,
I knew they're like really good friends. The other people, I mean, we knew the other 3 guys too, but
Pete Davidson wasn't there because he was shooting something.
Yeah, right.
And so he called him. That was pretty good. I do like that Al Pacino thing was pretty good.
Yeah. Oh, that's what the Al Pacino thing was.
Yeah, right. And he said, He said, I just feel like everybody's gonna think it's me.
Yes. Yeah.
I've never done drugs with Pete Davidson.
Way to protect yourself there.
Because he had tattoos and I did not.
That was good too. Okay. And then the only other thing I wrote down was twice he had like moments that he kind of was grateful that he got through it and is there and is alive to do that special and stuff. And I loved that he's still sharp.
Yeah.
He's
absolutely. Yeah.
You see people all the time that have
but he was sharp.
Yeah.
And then when they come out of it, they're not the same person. Right. Yeah.
Drugs will mess your brain up.
Yeah. Well, he's very sharp. He's quick-witted.
And he's still young enough. A lot of times, you know that people did drugs for years and years, and then it really starts to hit them as they get older.
Right.
And he's only 41 or 40 or something.
Yeah, I think 41, 42, something in that area. Yeah, he kept talking about. He was 37 in 2020. So whatever that was, it 37?
Oh,
39 in 2020. Maybe that's what it was.
Yeah, something like that. Anyway, anything else stand out to you?
No.
I wrote everything down.
No
change.
No, nothing else stood out to me. I'll tell you, it was good. I laughed at it. There was some funny parts, but I mean, I don't know if it's his delivery or his demeanor or just him in general, or maybe just the fact that I couldn't stand that Nick Kroll, John Mulaney thing that they did. It might have been that.
I watched another hour-long episode of those two on a show that was like a special. It wasn't even a regular show. It was John Oliver.
Yeah,
John Oliver.
Yep.
They did something at the 92nd Street Y or something. There's like a series that they do, and they'll have like a celebrity interview another. So John Oliver interviewed those 2 guys as the characters. I watched another. I think I've even seen it before, and I watched it again.
Laughing your butt off. I don't find those 2 funny in that situation in any way, shape, or form.
I don't know.
The telephone or the telephone, telephone or telephone or whatever. They can't say words right. I guess that's funny. I don't know.
It is.
So Adam, it is Adam, right?
Adam.
I mean, I feel like I gave it a reasonable score.
Okay.
I feel like, even though, I mean, I'm not gonna act like I didn't like it. It's not that I didn't like it. It was good. It was good.
Was it funny?
Yeah, I would say it's funny.
Okay.
I think a lot of people probably thought it was more funny than I did.
Okay.
But I didn't get to a 4 by any means. I was at a 3.4.
3.4.
It wasn't under a 3 or anything. It wasn't, it's right there in the middle of the old three bagger.
Okay. Yeah. All right. 4.2.
I knew you would be above a 4. When you started laughing as hard as you did as you were reading your notes, I was like, we ain't gonna be in the same boat today,
Yeah.
buddy. We're gonna be a full point off.
And you know what? He's had better specials.
Okay, yeah.
He's had better specials than this, but and I think part of it was maybe like there's a little bit of a bias for you because you didn't like that last thing he did.
Could
I
be.
think maybe the same thing for me.
A little
I
biased
might
because you like
I
that.
might be giving him more just because I was so happy to see John Mulaney put out a new special when he's one of
Sure.
the best in the world, I think.
Yeah.
And I was just very happy to see that he got through that part, and hopefully he stays sober. Who knows? But for him to be back on the comedy scene, every comedian's like, he's one of the best. Like
Right.
you know. So I was excited, and he's one of the guys I've gotten a chance to see live, which was awesome.
You think he was stoned out of his mind when you saw him?
I don't know. No, because I've never.
I couldn't
probably, but I
he
could
was talking
never
about.
tell.
He talked about in the very beginning of this. He's like, it might be a little bit different demeanor than you've seen me in the past, and I was like, you seemed exactly the same. He didn't seem that much outside of telling some sadder stories.
Yeah.
He was scooting around and twisty footing around here and there, and whatever he was doing up there.
Yeah.
And when he gets into his little British little giddy up here and the somebody home or whatever he does there, that wasn't even close to what I wanted to come out of my mouth, but that's what came out. So that's what we're gonna live with on this podcast forever now.
Sure.
But
maybe I'll learn how to edit.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, exactly. No, but I don't know. It
was just okay for you.
It was okay. Yeah. I mean, it was just a good comedy special. It was good. It was good.
Good.
If I was in there, I probably would have laughed more. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
You laugh more when other people around you are laughing, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
I laughed more at that stuff when you were reading it laughing than I did when I listened to it. I laughed harder when you because it's funnier when you see someone laughing at something like at a joke. It's
contagious.
It's contagious. You just start laughing.
I agree with you.
That's happened before where I've adjusted my score because you start reading off your notes and I start laughing really hard and then he said and I've changed my score because of
didn't work today. Huh?
No, it didn't work today. I knew where I was at today, but
That's fair. Okay.
All right, so we've got a Mount Rushmore and a comedy special for next week.
Yep.
You are going to do the comedy special. I will have the Mount Rushmore.
Yes, sir.
So, Adam, I'll let you go first because I have no idea.
There is a comedian who is one of the guys that's kind of in the same world, the same class, I guess, sort of, as all the great guys, the guys that came out of New York, and most of them are still there. The Normans and Lists and Bargetzis and Okersons and Soders. In fact, Dan Soder was a roommate of this gentleman for 10 years.
Whoa.
Until the pandemic.
Whoa.
They lived together. And yes, and this guy's like
sounds like a couple
almost
of Catholic
50 years
cigarettes
older.
to me.
Couple of cigarettes, yeah. And but anyway, this guy is really good, but doesn't have that same name as those guys yet.
Okay.
Mike Vecchione.
No idea. That'll be good. What's it on?
Mike Vecchione. It's on YouTube.
It's on the YouTube.
And this will I think encourage you even more. Nate Bargatze produced this.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, because Nate's a big fan of Mike's, and they're friends. And he's like, you need a special. I'm putting it on for you.
Nice.
So very cool. Nate's another one of those guys
Nate
that is using his success.
I'm gonna tell you right. He's my favorite comedian right now. He's my favorite comedian right now.
He's awesome.
That dude I laugh constantly at him.
He's really, really good.
Yeah. All right, cool. So I'm going to do, and tell me if we've done this before. I feel like we've done the Mount Rushmore of sandwiches. I feel like we've done the Mount Rushmore of different things, but I would like to do, have we done a Mount Rushmore of lunch meat?
You know what?
Pickle loaf, anything like that?
Oh, we haven't. If that's going to be on yours,
Braunschweiger.
No, I would say we haven't done it because I don't remember hearing you say that before. Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right.
Whether we've done it before or not.
We'll do it now. Yeah, might as well. I mean, yeah.
Tastes change.
Tastes change
right.
over 5 years. 5 years. Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary, honey.
Adam, right?
Honey.
Adam. Yeah.
I'm calling you honey.
All right. Thanks, hon. Thanks, hon. Thanks, hun. Thanks, darling.
And it is pronounced.
Oh, somebody, we had a golf outing and Aaron was selling tickets during it. And some guy kept calling her darling.
Oh,
I'll take a couple, darling. I've never seen her more upset in my entire life.
really?
Oh, she was not happy with the darling. Once again, there's the locker room talk, you know.
You're not supposed to do that.
Them boys get together, you know, at those golf outings, get a little sauced up, and they start.
Older guy?
No, I think that was it. He was like in his early 40s.
Huh.
I think that was the part that got her. Like if some old man was like, hey, darling, can I get, that's different. You know, some 60, 70-year-old man's like, hey, darling, that's just something that comes out. But when some guy it's like your age is calling you darling, it's like,
you're not supposed to do that, man. That's another one of those things. You're not supposed to do that anymore.
So here's what I do. And I don't know if I've caught myself a few times where I'm like, oh man, maybe I shouldn't have done that. That was probably the wrong thing. I will walk up, like if a girl is waiting on me in a restaurant, or if I see somebody walking down the road.
Boss.
No, I don't do the boss. The boss is strictly for the guys. I only call the guys boss. But I'll say girl. I say it all the time. I'm like, hey girl, how you doing? And then sometimes I'm like, ooh, that person may not want to be a girl. I don't know. Like it looks like it's a girl. I don't know. I feel like I feel like I've caught myself in a couple situations where I'm just trying to be friendly.
Yeah.
You know, and some people like it. Some older ladies.
You mean it as a term of endearment.
Yeah, some
it's
older
not
ladies
taken as a term of endearment for everybody.
Yeah,
though.
some older, like today, they had a nice little older lady waiting on me at the Bob. No, it was the Red Robin.
The Bob Huggins
at the Red. Oh. Yeah, the Bob Huggins at the Red Robin. And I said, hey girl, how are you? She said, oh my goodness, I am so far from a girl. Oh my gosh. I was like, you'll always be a girl to me, sweetie. Probably shouldn't have said sweetie. Probably shouldn't have said sweetie out there, but she was already in love. So that 65-year-old woman was in love.
Oh man. You'd have been better off calling her Catholic cigarette.
You Catholic cigarettes. Don't even know the size of their own. What did he said something about that too.
Yeah, that's the thing. What he said after that didn't even make sense.
Yeah, I don't think they even know the size of their own or something like that. Yeah.
Didn't have one.
Yeah, they didn't have one, so they had to go buy them and throw them on the floor and then deny it. Then they denied that they did it. You get over it. Guy calls me right off the bat and he's like, wow. Hey bud, how you doing? I was like, I'm good. He goes, did you hear all this? I was like, I just kind of got something on my phone. I've got a bunch of texts. He goes, I'm going to go ahead and say that Bob Huggins still holds a little special spot in his heart for Xavier fans. I was like, yeah, you think? I don't think he's quite over that 20 years later.
Especially after you come in this past year and get beat again.
That might have, and I don't know, maybe Willie started part of it talking about how they got, I doubt it.
All right. So Mike Vecchione, it's called The Attractives. It's on I think it's on Nate's YouTube channel.
Okay, cool.
But just search Mike Vecchione and the Mount Rushmore of lunch meat.
Mount Rushmore of lunch meat.
Nice. Lunch meat. That means I am going to have to try some lunch meats this week.
Careful, bro. It is not cheap.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Don't just go in there buy them. You get some of these you can just think about remembering on. I'm talking like $15 a pound.
Can't you go in there and be like, can I sample that?
Yeah, 100%. They'll give you a piece. Can I get a sample of every one of these?
I would never ask for a sample.
No chance. I would, and then eat it in front of everyone.
If they offer you
to find out if I really want that or not. I've had all of this.
Yeah, eat it in front of everybody. Yeah,
yes. I had all of this. I know what I want. I want the turkey. Just give me sliced turkey. Now, if you give me a sample and go, is this thin enough or is this thick enough? That's a different story. That's what I care about. I want today I had a turkey sandwich waiting for you. The turkey was cut a little thick. I need mine a little thinner. I don't want it shaved, but I want it thin.
I will ask for, and I haven't gotten lunch meat in a while, but I used to. Oven roasted turkey.
Yeah.
Perfect. Whatever's on sale.
Yep.
Private selection, whatever. And slice thin.
Slice thin.
Here's the thing. They go back, slice the first one. This good?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, looking at nothing.
It could be 7 inches thick, and I will say yes.
I
Don't.
love that you think that 7 inches.
thick. Listen, let's.
Hey, look, whatever you try to convince people, right? Whatever you're trying to convince people of is good for you. Here we go with the locker room talk again. 7 inches right there, bud. If you can see, it's about 2.5 inches is what I got there.
Either way,
Half the
I do
size
not
of a pen.
I do not pay any attention when they show me the lunch meat. It's this,
Oh,
no.
you went there right to here, real quick.
Well, this is the thin slice now. But yeah, I'll order the exact same. I'll look at in the glass thing like,
Yeah.
oh wow, oh gross, look at that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Dude,
that doesn't
have
sound
you
bad.
ever had pickle loaf?
No, I've never had.
Have you ever had Braunschweiger, however they say that?
I don't think so.
It's better than you think, bud.
Probably.
The pickle loaf is actually, I mean, it's basically bologna with little pickles in it. I mean, you put pickles on your sandwich?
Yeah, but
I mean,
not in my bologna.
What's the difference if you throw a slap of bologna? They just did the job for you. Now you got pickle and bologna.
But I got pickle laying in a bed of bologna for a while.
Well, what does it do? I mean, it's laying in a bed of bologna when you make a sandwich.
It's not though.
You're laying it on a bed of bologna.
I'm putting it on top, and it's a slice of pickle.
So you're laying it on the bologna.
Sure, but it's not
The bed. The bologna's flat like a bed.
It's not embossed in the bologna.
Okay, that's there. Okay, what makes it? I don't know.
And also bologna.
For real?
I mean, I had the fried bologna sandwich that you and your dad made that one time here was good.
Yeah,
it was good. Bologna though, I even just looking at it, it's like, I mean, it just looks like skin. You know, I mean,
that's nasty because it
just
does
looks
look
like people's skin.
It does just look like pink skin.
It's,
yeah, you could cut that up and really make something look nasty with that.
Yeah.
No, but I gotta tell you, bud, I'm a big bologna guy. I love bologna. We always have bologna in our house.
Yeah.
One of my daughters loves it. Finley wants it every single day for lunch. It's all she ever wants, bologna sandwich.
Nice.
Cheese and white stuff. She likes the mayo.
Cheese and white stuff.
Yep. Cheese and white stuff.
Cheese and white stuff. Yeah.
Back in the day, she would always go, Daddy, are you going to put the white stuff on it? Yep. I'll get you some mayo, girl. I got you.
White stuff.
I got you. I'll get the mayo on it just like your daddy. What's in the white stuff? There you go. Oreo. What's in? You never heard that part? Nobody ever did that? When you guys were younger in grade school, when that came out, nobody ever went, Oreo. What's in the middle? The white stuff.
No, I never heard that.
No?
I thought I just thought of that for the white stuff, just talking about mayo.
No, for Oreos. That's what we used to say when we were in grade school.
Wow.
Yeah. Oreo, the white stuff's in the middle.
Must be a
right?
Blackhawk thing.
Yeah, it must be. There you go. I'm sure many people
Probably.
Didn't Oreo I bet Oreo should have had a commercial with that.
Maybe they did.
I don't know.
I just don't remember.
All right. On that note, bud, I think we've about accomplished what we set out to what our goals were for the day. We
Shame on Bob Huggins.
We talked a lot about Catholic cigarettes.
Shame on Nikola Jokic.
Shame on Bobby and Nikola.
Shame on John Mulaney.
Shame on John Mulaney for good on John Mulaney as well, though.
It's big that he bounced back.
Yes, good on John as well. Good on John as well.
Dope, buddy.
Yeah. Didn't know it was that easy to get a haircut at 30 Rock.
For him, it is.
Yeah, he still got his pass card.
That's right. That's right. He hasn't worked there in a long time.
Yeah.
You know what? No shame on anybody. That's negative energy. We're going positive energy,
baby.
Let's finish it positive energy.
Positive energy, because I got a big game this Saturday.
Oh,
We got a big game this Saturday. Everybody keeps telling me about the R word coming in.
positive energy.
And I'm throwing the positive energy out there, dude. That's 4 days away. We're good. I ain't worried about nothing.
No.
Let's go do it.
You guys are in good shape.
Absolutely, we're in good shape.
Yeah.
So all right, there you go. Don't forget to turn your headlights on.